Well, Republicans held their big long-awaited crime hearing in New York City to talk about what they called a crime crisis, a local crime crisis in New York City. And you might be wondering, are they actually concerned about crime in big cities or crime in any place or anything like that? No. No. They're concerned with the fact that Alvin Bragg, who's responsible for caring about such things, is also caring about crimes that Trump possibly committed. And they think the way they can distract from Trump and attack Alvin Bragg is to say, hey, look, violent crime happens in New York City. That's why you shouldn't be prosecuting Trump, which as a basic argument makes no sense. These crimes are happening, so these crimes shouldn't be prosecuted? Or violent crimes happen and that's why white collar crimes shouldn't be prosecuted? But the logic doesn't matter because the foundation of the argument, really, they won't say it, is just Trump should be above the law. It doesn't matter, evidence, none of that. It's just Trump should be above the law. And we'll also talk about the hypocrisy of them pretending to care about crime in New York, which people should care about crime everywhere. People should, especially those within New York politics, should care about crime in New York. But it's very disingenuous for them to be pointing at that, and we'll discuss that a little bit more in a second. Here from ABC News, Jordan House Republicans hold New York City hearing on to focus on crime, attack Bragg. House Republicans took their attack on Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg to New York City on Monday, holding a hearing on what they say is a local crime crisis, a move Democrats lambasted as a political stunt aimed at protecting former President Donald Trump. GOP Representative Jim Jordan convened the House Judiciary Committee Monday morning at the Jacob Javits Federal Building in Manhattan, just around the block from the Bragg's office. And they heard from victims of violent crimes. And do those stories matter? Yes. Does crime matter? Yes. Addressing it? 100%. Are Republicans acting in good faith? Does it make sense for the House Judiciary Committee, led by Jim Jordan, to be discussing this when Jim Jordan doesn't have to even leave his own state to find a place with significant problems with crime, which highlights the hypocrisy here to pretend that New York is this horrible democratic, disaster. And that's why clearly they're in the wrong in prosecuting Trump, when this is the reality, as Mayor Eric Adams highlighted during this MSNBC appearance.
Let's bring in the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. By the way, what do you think of this field hearing in your city about crime?
I think it's the highest level of hypocrisy. We know that cities all across America are dealing with the issues around public safety, particularly the criminal justice system. And right in the largest city in Ohio, was reported today in one of the tabloids, the murders are up over 50% in the first quarter.
So they put on screen, of course, Jim Jordan is a representative from Ohio, and they put on screen the New York City homicide rate is 5.2 per 100,000 people. Columbus, Ohio in Jordan's state, 15.4 per 100,000 people. Both matter. Both need to be addressed. Hypocrisy, obviously, on the part of Jim Jordan.
And so while crime is going down, homicides are going down, here shooters are going down, here's some of the major crimes, you're trending in the right direction. Our subway system crime is going down. So I think coming here and highlighting DA Bragg is just really a political stunt.
You know why? Let's bring in the mayor of New York City.
A political stunt, indeed. And then I have an interesting moment for you from Fox News' The Five, where Jessica Tarlov makes a similar point. Let me get this pulled up for you about the disingenuousness here.
To the point about this being a show trial this morning, I was very happy that the entire cohort of the Democrats showed up to do this with them.
Because they haven't to others.
They haven't to others. And they pointed out the fact that Jim Jordan represents somewhere where the crime rates are higher than New York City. Kevin McCarthy, Bakersfield. You have more of a chance of being a victim of violent crime if you live there than you do in New York City. They should have these meetings in Memphis, in St. Louis, tour the country, go to Toledo, go to Alabama. What went on in Alabama this weekend? It's heart-wrenching.
Oh, the Sweet 16 party.
Yeah, just absolutely devastating.
Yeah, so if you want people to believe that it's justified for you to be going after Alvin Bragg and saying the crime is because of his bad policies and Democrats in New York City's bad policies, and that's what you're really concerned with, this crime crisis. That's why you're making Alvin Bragg your big public enemy. But for Jim Jordan, the leader of this whole ordeal, he wouldn't have to leave the borders of his state to find significant, more severe problems with crime. It becomes a whole lot harder to buy that narrative, and then it becomes obvious that it's just a chance to help defend Trump by demonizing Alvin Bragg, the person prosecuting him. And then the other thing is, I want to have conversations about crime, and specifically about how politics plays into the different crime realities in different places, and how policies pushed for by different political ideologies yield different results and all of that. And there are cases where Democrats have had policies that I dislike, where DAs have made decisions in different areas that I'm not super supportive of. So if Republicans want to have that conversation, they would also have to have the conversation about why the murder rate is 40% higher in states that voted for Trump, meaning more red states that implement more conservative policies than those that voted for Biden in the 2020 election, or why 7 out of the 8 states that have the highest murder rate are red states. They would have to have those conversations too, but they don't want to. They just want to point at New York City that has a less severe problem than other places with crime. Not that it doesn't matter, it does, but the whole purpose is to point to that and say, this is why Trump shouldn't be prosecuted, and this is why Democratic policies are horrible. Democratic representative at this hearing, Democratic Representative Madeleine Dean, made a fantastic point.
Republican colleagues prefer gesturing about violent crime rather than doing something about it. I'm reminded of the character in Succession, the late Logan Roy, said, "You are not serious people. If you are serious about doing something about violence, gun violence, and other violence, please join us."
And another thing this emphasizes for me is, if we're going to talk about addressing violent crime, one of the big areas that has to be discussed is gun violence. And how are we going to, one of the ways, but one of the primary significant ways that we're going to address gun violence includes gun control. And they are very much against that. And so this isn't good faith discussion. It's not even a good faith raising of a problem they're concerned with. It's just a political stunt. It's just to go after Alvin Bragg to defend Trump so the base is happy.